got it wrong. It's possible to learn genuinely new material during deep sleep. That has been shown. 3 things wrong with it. Okay, that's not 10 hours. And it's not subtle. I offer a sleep track for ear training. The other night I put it under a microscope and I found 3 things wrong with it. But I rebuilt the entire thing and I'm giving away the new one for free in the description. But there are some warnings that go along with it. There's information that you need to listen to know how to use it properly. The file is called 10 hours, the one that I have on here on YouTube right now. It's 8 hours and 46 minutes long, and the audio inside it actually stops at about 7 hours and 59 minutes in like 30 seconds. Okay, that's not 10 hours. The last 47 minutes aren't quiet. They aren't fading. They're exactly 0. Huge mistake there. Now, you might say, who cares? They're asleep. And here's why I care. A sleeping person can be startled by it. A sleeping brain is a literal change detector. That's most of what it does all night long. So the single thing in the track most likely to wake somebody at 4 in the morning was me running out of sound. So I had to fix that. That's number 1. And it's the lightest of the concerns. To explain why that matters, I have to tell you what a sleep track should actually be doing. And it isn't what most people selling them will tell you or imply. It's far more specific, and it's far better evidenced and much easier to get wrong. In 2002, there was a study by Walker and colleagues. The subjects learned a finger sequence. It was retested 12 hours later while they were awake, no sleep. They found no improvement in learning, nothing. Now, they retested after a night of sleep, 20% faster in the finger technique. Now, this is what matters. Nobody practiced in between. The improvement was built while they were unconscious in sleep. Now, that's a motor and perceptual sequence learned by repetition and finished overnight. This is exactly the shape that ear training takes. But when I was younger and I used to compose, what I always used to do is I would really think about the composition, spend a lot of time on it, put all my mental energy into it, and then I'd take a nap. And I found that sometimes when I went to sleep, as I was going to sleep, I actually heard the work. But what happened is when I woke up, the problems I had, the solutions, they just came to me. I didn't have to do any more work. I knew exactly where to take the composition. It's like the nap solved the problem of what was occurring right before I slept. It solved it for me in my sleep. So those 5 minutes before bed, they're way more important than they look. All right, let's look at another study. Antony, 2012. This is kind of the whisper experiment. This is where it gets interesting for us specifically, because the last one was not about ear training. This study took subjects and they had them learn 2 musical sequences. Then they took a nap, just like I said. And while they're in deep sleep, the room quietly, keyword quietly, plays back one of the 2 musical sequences. Just one. It was too quiet to wake them. That was the key of this experiment. It had to be too quiet to wake or disturb them. For the sequence that was cued, they got 7.9% better. For the sequence that was uncued, there was still an improvement of 2.6%. It's the same brain, same nap, same night. The only difference was which one the room actually kind of whispered back, and I'm using that word intentionally. They whispered back. Now here's a number that decided everything I'm about to show you. The size of each person's benefit tracked how much deep sleep they got. It had nothing to do with volumes, nothing to do with repetition. It only had to do with deep sleep. And this is one of the things I changed in my track. It now has this curve instead of a constant. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I measured my own product against that. The red line is my track. It's 20% tonal duty in 1 hour, 27 in hour 2, 25 in hour 6, and it's flat all night long. There's no curve, right? The teal band is deep sleep. That's slow wave activity. And this decays exponentially. You can see that with a measured time constraint between 1.8 and 2.3 hours. You put these two on the same axis, mine and deep sleep, and it's not subtle. By hour 4, the thing my cues were aiming at is gone, almost completely gone. And my track is still firing at full rate, basically into an empty room. You're not benefiting from it anymore. but it's still playing those intervals. So 2/3 of what I was counting on to help learn the intervals, which I used myself for many years when I was trying to learn perfect fifths and all these different intervals, it was being placed where it couldn't even be used. It was pointless. The gold line here, that curve that goes with the deep sleep, it's a rebuild. It's the same material, same night, aimed instead of sprayed, okay? So it's more intentional. It serves a purpose. So I want to be clear about the order that all this happened in, okay? I rebuilt the track first on instinct with a decay constant of 1.9 hours. It was a guess. It felt right based on what I knew about how a night goes, because I understood deep sleep, REM, and I understood the basic intervals that were used in that, but I got some things wrong. And so my intuition was close, but it wasn't the full story. So then I went looking for their literature, and I found the measured figure is 1.8 to 2.3. So now I had an actual figure to aim for, and that helps a lot. So I guessed, and I landed inside the range. That's luck. It's not genius, and you should hold me to the difference. I mean, I got it wrong. Luckily, it was within the range. And I figured when I was trying to learn these intervals myself, it would help somebody. So I put it out there so that everybody could use the work that I created and worked on. So why don't we just ride the cycles, right? So some of you are probably asking that question already. Sleep runs in cycles. It's about 90 to 110 minutes. This is where I got it wrong. I thought it was pretty strictly 90 once you get in there, and I knew it could vary a little bit between individual people. So why not ride them? If you cue through deep sleep and then you just go quiet through REM, that would be ideal, right? And the reason I can't do this is because I'd have to know your phase, and I can't possibly know your phase. Your sleep onset, it can vary by 40 minutes. Your cycle length varies by 20 between people and between nights in the same person. You assume 90 when the truth is 110. And by hour 5, I'm not missing. I'm completely inverted. I'm completely off track. I'd be queuing straight into REM, where the queue does nothing and the risk of waking you is highest. If you look at this here, if I run 110 minutes, going by what I think your cycle is, and you're actually running at 90 minutes, you can see how this stops working. We have to target the right area of sleep. Now, if we use an envelope, it can't be out of phase because it never claimed to have one. That's the entire argument here. So this is a finding that I actually find most interesting. I searched for various open source rain sounds, and I found the ones that I thought sounded the best. I found Dragon Studio and Universe Field from a public domain, free for commercial or personal use, right? So I needed a rain bed, and I pulled the best sounding ones I could find. But before I used either of them, I ran a spectrum on it. This is not something I did with the previous rain sounds I used. But the previous rain sounds I used, I had tried to record on my own. And there may be a hum in there, but it wasn't something on my radar back then. I wasn't thinking there could be a hum in here that could actually negate what I'm trying to do. So I ran a spectrum on this. And look at this. For Dragon Studio, 200 hertz with harmonics at exactly 400 and exactly 600. This was used in one of the tracks. It was almost used. I didn't actually use it on the sleep training one that I put on YouTube, but I was going to use it. But I realized that's not weather. Weather doesn't have harmonics. That is a synthetic drone somebody left inside a file called relaxing rain. And it could be anything. I don't think it's nefarious, but it's sitting 35 cents sharp of G3. That's the issue. It's not that there's a drone in there. The drone itself is fine. It's out of tune. And it's a third of a semitone out of tune with every interval that I would have played over it. So that's the actual issue. And I almost shipped that underneath an ear training track. If you put rain under anything pitched, this is the moral of the story. Run a spectrum on it first, because especially if you're doing ear training or you have music, you want to know how it's going to interact. And things like that, something out of tune, it's going to dull your recording at worst, But the absolute worst case scenario is it actually conflicts with the ear training you're trying to do. So I was really happy to find that Universe Field had a relaxing rain option. I wasn't as happy with the sound, but there was no tone anywhere. The highest prominence was like 3.2 decibels. And so I was able to cut it up and use it in a way that there are no perceptible changes throughout the entire 10-hour track, depending on which one you use. So my third finding, this is the one that if I wanted to, I could most easily lie about. My track pulses at 1.12125 seconds. That's 0.824 hertz. This sits right on the sleep slow oscillation. So you could say, hey, that's a discovery. That's really important, but it isn't. And I'd rather tell you why than try and sell you on some numerical fantasy. Closed loop stimulation. When we do it, it works by reading your EEG live and firing into the rising phase. So it actually tracks your EEG. It knows where you are in your sleep. A playlist has no phase information and can't get any. So matching the average rate is not matching the phase. And even with the real equipment, even if you have it, the memory benefit failed to replicate in a larger sample in a 2019 study. So the number's real, the coincidence is real, my own samplings, the claim just isn't available. And so I don't want to make a claim that isn't honest, but you might hear claims like this somewhere else. And so I just want to make sure we're very clear about what's actually going on here. So the number's real, okay? But every silent slot in this track has nothing to do with the phase or trying to match sleep cycles. It has to do with arousal. We're trying to prevent arousal. Remember, if they weren't disturbed, then it was a better learning effect. If they were slightly disturbed but didn't wake up, no effect, no benefit. If they did wake up, zero benefit, -17. It was really bad, right? Now here's a finding that should change how you use any of this. In 2019, 66 people over 3 nights, they were in their own beds, they had an MP3 player. It was the same setup for everyone. Now, if you were one of the people who slept through the cues, your attention went up 12 points. For people whose sleep was disturbed, they got nothing. The people the sound actually woke had a -17 retention. They actually had negative retention. So a cue that wakes you does not merely fail. It damages the exact memory it was reactivating. Not no benefit, worse, and selectively worse on the exact words that were played, and only those during sleep. This is something that they believe is real, and if it ever gets updated, I'll adjust. But a cue that wakes you actually damages your attention, the memory you're trying to form, and the learning you're trying to develop. And here's a finding that almost nobody in music knows. The researchers know it, of course. It's one more, because I promise you I'd leave you with something rare. It's possible to learn genuinely new material during deep sleep. That has been shown. But here's what's interesting. Researchers checked what happened next, and the people whose sleep learning worked were measurably worse at learning that same material awake. So it affected their ability to learn awake. It was 36% against 44. The explanation is something known as synaptic homeostasis. So sleep is supposed to downscale your synapses overnight to make room for tomorrow. It prunes them. It cleans out old material and it gets you ready for the next day. Now, material encoded during sleep resists that reset and leaves those cells saturated. There was no pruning going on. So the takeaway here is that if you hope to skip practice and learn intervals in your sleep, you won't just fail. And I've been saying this for a long time. So you may be spending tomorrow's capacity to do it properly. So you need to do practice during the day and at night. Otherwise, it counts against you. I like to think of it as train the interval awake, let the night finish it. So here are the rules I created for myself. There's 4 rules. I follow all 4 now. I was breaking 2 of them. Let's see if you can figure out which ones. So the first rule, train the interval while awake today. The night finishes the work. It doesn't start it. We got that, right? 2, it needs to be quiet enough that you can't find it once you stop looking. So if you play the recording and then your attention is not fixated on finding the tones, you don't hear the tones. 3, nothing starts, so you go to sleep after everything starts. So, you're already going to sleep while it's playing, and then nothing stops while you're sleeping. Nothing stops mid-sentence where you have a certain level of volume and then it goes quiet. That will disturb you. that will wake you up. And 4, do the work in the first 3 hours and then get out of the way. You got 3 hours where you can legitimately train your ear without complicated equipment like an EEG monitoring your sleep states. That's the safe zone. So the first 3 hours is going to be where your deep sleep is. That's where you're going to get the best benefit. So first I want to talk about how the rebuild satisfies all these requirements, and then I want to talk about some safety things that you should know before you use the file. So the rain, this is the first fix. It sits around minus 27 decibels average, and it peaks near minus 7. The tones that I play are 20 or 26 decibels underneath that. Depending on which version you take, there's more than one version, and you can try both out. Every tone opens on a 450 millisecond ramp. There's no onset for a sleeping ear to flag, so no arousal. That's really important. I cut the rain into random segments, drifted in speed, and I crossfaded them. So across 10 hours, nothing repeats. I spent a lot of time on this. No pattern means nothing for a cue to violate. So that was important. That was one of the things about the other ear training files, which are not meant for sleep, my composing hour, and other programs that I've done. There's a pattern to the rain that your brain can start to predict. Zero pattern here. Made it basically impossible to detect a pattern in the rain. That was really important. So here's my offer. It's completely free. I'm going to give you the perfect fifths now. That's in the description. And then next week we'll do the major third. The week after I'll give you the major 6. These are the ones that are actually worth burning in. When I first did this, I did every single interval, including the dissonant ones. And as I've been teaching ear training and doing more ear training, as the years have gone by, I've realized the ones that you really want to entrain are the consonant ones, the ones that fit most closely with the overtone series, the ones that don't cause a lot of dissonance, because the dissonance can wake you up. And I always kind of intuitively knew that, and I'd recommend to people taking these playlists, just stick with the perfect fifth, the octave, the fourth, and the thirds, maybe the sixes. And the reason I did that was because I didn't want the intervals waking people up. I didn't have all the science on that at that point in time, but now I have the science to back up that those conclusions were correct. There are 2 lengths. There's a 10-hour version and one at 1 hour and 58 minutes. Because anything past 2 hours gets awkward to keep on a phone, and that's where most people actually play them. It's just a very practical decision. 2 hours is about the limit. There are also 2 levels. One is slightly quieter. So you can sleep with each for 3 nights and keep whichever one you can't find the tones in. The one where the tones don't disturb you. If you hear the tones, it's probably just a little bit too loud. Now here are my warnings. Play it from a speaker, do not use earbuds, and set the volume by the rain. Now, you can try a little experiment. Turn it on, and then play the rain sounds. If you can hear the rain sounds, and still hear when you're whispering to somebody next to you, that's about the right volume. If you're whispering and other people in the room can't hear you, it's too loud. That's how quiet it needs to be. It needs to be a whisper. This is not white noise. This is not designed to cover things up in the environment. In fact, that can actively disrupt it because the brain will get used to things that are in your environment. And when the sound disappears, all of a sudden those things can alert you and arouse you. We want to avoid that. Okay? So there's no sign up for this. It's free. You can also listen to it right here on YouTube, which would be great. I just have one request before you use it. Whatever interval you're working on, so the perfect fifth is the one I'm giving you first. Lie down in bed, lights off, just sing it and hold it for about 5 minutes. Hear it with nothing playing. This is your practice. Just go back and forth between a perfect fifth. Get it on the piano first or on an app if you need to, but just sing it back and forth. This is your practice time. You need to do that. That's the part that makes a night worth anything at all. And if you're using my Flawless course, you can go through Unit 1 and Unit 2 and really Unit 3 on the perfect fifth. So you can use the perfect fifth for all 3 units. But one of the things I am going to do is I'm going to make an interval for the Flawless course, and it's going to coincide with each unit. So that's something that's separate. It's something that I'll use in the course on my website. But what you can do is just practice this interval during the day. And if you don't practice the interval during the day, then don't use the audio, because as you've learned now, it won't work. I want to say this very clearly. Sleep is not where ear training happens. Sleep is where ear training finishes. Come back tomorrow morning and tell me what it felt like. Is it still there? Is it clear? Or is it gone? All three answers are useful to me.